The following program is for mature audiences only. The views expressed by the people and other guests on the podcast are their opinions and their own and don't reflect the institutions or establishments that they work for. So please do not get our asses fired or canceled. Thank you very much. Enjoy the show. Go to my channel at It's Jay Whitaker on YouTube. Check it out. You can watch this episode. It's a great episode. Subscribe us there. Give us a review in Spotify. You can watch it on Anchor and Spotify. I'm still learning the ropes with that, but give us a review in Apple Podcasts. I'm getting this thing off the road. I've already got 10 episodes, 10 interviews already done. So, okay, y'all challenged me. I'm keeping myself accountable, okay? So I'm doing the best I can to produce this podcast. If you'd like to donate at Patreon, go to Patreon Glad You Made It podcast, or patreon.com/Glad You Made It. And you can donate right there and be a part of our tier and help support this podcast. I'm going to be bringing some fun guests on. I'm really excited for the episodes. I got a little planner. I'm organized. My wife, she looking at me like, cause she knows I don't like to plan. She's on this episode too. She knows I don't like to plan, but she proud of me. She said like, "Oh, he got a little schedule, got a little Google Calendar. He writing stuff down. Look at him being all accountable and organized." Well, either way, however you found us, I'm glad you made it. Enjoy the episode. What's up, Glad Gang? It's me. It's Jay. I hope you're having a good week. I hope you're taking care of yourself. I hope you're taking care of your bodies. Did you check out San Diego Comic-Con? Holy shit. Marvel just dropped a lot of projects on us. Like, I kid you not, over 15 projects, a lot of movies. There's a Blade movie coming during Halloween times. That's spooky time. There is Guardians of the Galaxy 3 coming out. There is a She-Hulk. There's Daredevil, Born Again. There's
Two
Secret
Avengers
Invasion.
movies?
There's Secret Wars. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on. So what I said this on Geek Show podcast, and I'll say it to you on my own podcast. Get a physical. Damn it. Take care of your health, because the next 2 years, a lot of Marvel shit is coming out, and I want you to take care of your bodies because I want you to be healthy enough to talk about it with me. Joining me on Glad You Made It today is my lovely wife, Kat Yumana Whitaker. She's in the building.
Hi.
How you doing, baby?
I'm good. Pretty good.
She's in her office, and I'm in my office.
I'm in a different
room. Podcasting. Yeah, we're not fighting, but
we're fine.
We're not fighting, but we're fine. Yeah, we're just. It is
just using this house that we bought.
Yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, and I hope you are watching this on YouTube, you will see me in a lavender room with a Wu-Tang poster, and you will see my lovely wife with a nice blue room with a
mattress in the back.
Baby, we didn't like our upstairs and downstairs situation is so interesting.
Even
now.
The other day on my podcast, I think it was Sarah was like, "Is that a mattress?" I'm like, "Shut up, Sarah." Fix your microphone. Fix your microphone first.
If you're wondering if you're watching this and you're wondering why we're both in tank tops, because it's hot.
It's hot as
It's hot as shit. It's hot as shit in this house.
Shit.
That's another reason why I felt like we should do this in separate rooms, because it's too damn hot for us to be.
No, I don't want to be that close to you right now. It's too hot.
Right. I'm stinky. Yeah,
we're both a little musty.
So my wife was super dope and decided to do something real cool. And she ordered the Marvel Encyclopedia.
Oh, I didn't know where you were getting at. I'm like, what'd I do? Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, like that. She got the Marvel Encyclopedia. This is the 2019 version, right?
Yeah, I think it's the most updated version. Yes.
Yeah, because the 2022 is just focusing solely on the Avengers, and
Yeah, there were a couple.
It was something like that.
Yeah, there's a couple different books. There's also the Marvel book, but some of them are just more specific as far as focusing on different multiverse universes or just the Avengers. And I just wanted a very broad, like, just show me all the characters, show me just a little bit of everything. So it has pretty much every character you can imagine that's been created, as well as, you know, they have stuff on Secret Wars, they have stuff on, you know, Infinity Gauntlet, just a little bit of everything. So I just wanted something very broad.
And that's dope, because I would suggest you get it. I mean, anyone that's listening, if you're trying to keep up with the Marvel stuff and feeling a little bit overwhelmed, I would highly recommend that. She bought that for herself, not for me. She bought that for herself. I mean, because she came a little bit late to the party, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's just like,
intimidating.
I thought that was super cool that she. Yeah, but because there's times where I watch trailers with her.
Not even just trailers.
Take me through a trailer, babe.
No, not even just trailers, but this will be during some of the TV shows or during the end of some Marvel movies, especially the end credit scenes, where you'll be sitting there and you're like, oh no, oh shit, they're doing it. Oh my God. And I'm like, doing what? What are they doing? Who is that? Like, who? And it's so frustrating. And I get that you can't, there's no way you can know every single Marvel character, Marvel storyline, but I figured this would be a good place to start to try to catch up, and also to use it for my other podcast, but we'll get to that.
That's right. We'll plug that in later episodes, but
just keep an eye out.
You know, I'll just say this: follow Rebecca Frost, follow Sarah Everett, and follow my wife. They got a really cool podcast that they're cooking up. If you are new to the Marvel universe, or you just want to get on your geek shit,
this is for you.
I would definitely check. Yeah, it's for you, and if you don't know where to start, and because you and I are like the same when it kind of comes to geek. It's like we're entry level, you know, and we're just trying to like, hey, I like this stuff, but I want to know more. But please don't judge me if I don't know. You
know a lot more than you give yourself credit for. Because as soon as I whipped out that encyclopedia, you were like, oh, it's this, and then this happens, and this, and this. And then even when we were watching one of the YouTube breakdowns of some of the new Marvel stuff that came out, you're like, yeah, because this and that, and you knew exactly what he was talking about. And I'm like, I have no idea. So.
Well, it's fine, but it's immersive, and it's fun. And like I said earlier, just take care of your bodies, because there is a ton of content that is coming out. We've got a great guest on the show today. I had a lovely sit-down interview with Stephan Watson, great actor, great friend, voiceover actor. You're good. You guys are going to love it. I want you to check out his podcast called the Cracked Brain Podcast. He's going to be at FanX in Salt Lake City in September. Make sure you check him out. I've known this brother for as long as I've been on Geek Show, and it's really cool to see him go pursue his own avenue. I mean, I remember having conversations with this dude early, before he was even doing, he was just out here just raising his family. And it's just cool to see his path. He got hit by a car. We're going to talk about that.
He's just accomplishing everything.
Yeah, he
all
like,
the life experience.
I mean, like, don't
do that. But
yeah, don't get hit by a car. But I mean, like, he got hit by a car, and he's still successful. So shout out to that brother for just being alive in these streets.
And he's still successful.
Like, I didn't mean to be like, I'm not trying to sound like a dick when I say it.
He's
like, if
resilient.
he's listening to this, he's laughing his head. Yeah, Watson dude is mad resilient. Like, imagine getting hit by a car and he's brolic enough and be like, yo, I'm still going to make it in this industry. That's my man's. Shout out to him. So follow him and just make sure we're going to take a quick break. Actually, no, we're not going to take a quick break, because we are going to talk about, I do want to talk about what we've been watching lately.
Okay.
Because it's just been fun. We've been watching Solar Opposites.
Oh my God.
And then we've been watching another show. That is real fun.
Yeah. Another show.
Well, I didn't want to just drop it on you.
I mean, I know what it is. I've been
All right,
watching it.
what is
Okay,
it,
well,
baby?
first of all, Solar Opposites is hysterical. It's fucking hysterical. And
Yeah.
I love that, I call it like drive-by humor, where there's so many subtle jokes in there that sometimes you can miss it, so you have to just be paying very close attention. But yeah, cannot recommend Solar Opposites enough. And then the other show that we've been watching that I've enjoyed very much, I'm actually sad that we just finished it, it's on Netflix. It's called How to Build a Sex Room. And and it's great. There's this woman, Melanie Rose, this lovely British lady that goes around to people's houses, and they have, either their bedroom or some extra room in their, not even just their house. She goes to a lot of different types of residences, and she builds these sex rooms for people. And it's not this dark, creepy dungeon that I feel like people immediately think of. They're these beautiful, beautiful rooms that she designs. They're just incredible. And I love that it not only opens up the conversation about sex and intimacy and, that role in relationships, and also it exposes a lot of, or it covers a lot of different types of relationships. There are, heterosexual relationships. There are some queer relationships, some, non-binary, and it just kind of covers the full spectrum, which is great. And it's just a fun time. And
it's a fun time. Yeah, because we love our home improvement show. We love our intimacy, and we love some good laughs. And like, a lot of people may, just based off the title, you're thinking like, oh, this is just going to be some Dungeons and Dragons kinky shit, and it's not. That's what I said. I said it. I'm well aware. As soon as I said it, I was like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. And then I said it, but I was like, all right, that's fine. That's my problem, not yours. And so, but this show genuinely has a heart, because it's talking about couples that are from all different types of dynamics, that have different issues. Some couples have kids. Some couples are on the road together, and traveling. Some couples are, the show clearly has a heart, and the host and the contractor, Melanie Rose and Mike, they're just great. And it's not just a show about some kinky shit. It is just a show about intimacy, celebrating love,
and home design.
A thing that we all and home design, because we are the two of us are working on home design. Because
I was about to say, clearly we have not prioritized that yet. So
yeah, we're working on it.
It's funny because she'll have this whole amazing room with like a sex swing and sex toys and all of these crazy gadgets and sex furniture and things. And even though I'm still fully focusing on that, I'm also like, I really like that paint color. I want to maybe put that in the living room. So it's a fun time.
I was like, oh shit, did they go to Crate and Barrel? Is that, that's a nice coffee table.
So highly recommend.
Yeah, highly suggest. Don't be afraid. Like, this show legit is good. It's funny, it's honest, and it has heart. Like, those will be the three words. That it's funny, honest, and has heart. Like, those will be the ways I would describe it. But we got a great interview coming up. We're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna get to some glad news.
Working title.
And working title. We're gonna give you something to be glad about. We are back. So my wife.
I was waiting for that.
Kat.
Waiting for that.
Yeah, no, I can't help it. But, Kat joins me every now and then on this podcast. And I want you to get used to hearing her voice, because she has her own podcast that is awesome. And I want you to check that out. But also, she is going to give us some gratitude news. Some gratitude. It's a working title. I'm trying to keep it with. It's glad you made it. we want to give y'all some good news. It could be good news, glad news, gratitude. I like gratitude. I feel like I need people to chime in and tell me what they prefer, but we're gonna get some good stories of some gratitude. Baby, I feel like it's gratitude.
It's fine. It's your podcast. That's fine. That's fine.
Oh my gosh,
No.
she hates it already.
No, it's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Okay.
All right. I think people are gonna love it.
Okay. Well,
Go
ahead.
Give us some gratitude.
All right. These are just some quick little positive stories within the dumpster fire that is the world right now. So, just a little. Anyway, so first story is a woman in Louisville, Kentucky, won not even a lot, just a little over $100,000 in the Kentucky lottery. And she decided to pay it forward, pass it along, and she went to her local supermarket. She bought $2,000 worth of grocery gift cards and just passed them out to random shoppers in the store. That was the first thing she did. She didn't even cover any of her own stuff first. Yeah.
Damn.
Yep.
That's cool. What's the first thing you getting on the gift cards, baby?
Oh. Get my AC fixed? Oh, a grocery gift card?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Grocery gift card. Marshmallow? Well, you just ate a s'more.
True,
My wife
I did
loves
just
s'mores.
eat a s'more, but I used a peep instead of a marshmallow because that's all we had.
Okay.
I don't know, probably some.
For the record, we had peeps left over. Like my
They were
mom sent
unopened.
us peeps.
It's fine.
We're doing fine.
We're just being resourceful.
They're
not
unopened.
wasting, trying to save the planet here.
It's
fine.
And also, we're just being
Yeah.
lazy. So
Yeah,
everything's
we're
good
fine.
in this house.
I don't know. I probably bought
Go
some
ahead.
like waffles or something. So that's kind of it for that story. It's very short, sweet, to the point. Although she says with the rest of her winnings, she plans to put them towards buying a new car and paying off bills. Don't know how far she's going to get
There
with
you go. I mean,
that, but cool.
so okay, we played Mega Millions the other night. Like,
Spoiler,
if
we
you
did not
could-
win.
We talked about. Yeah,
We
didn't.
points to mattress.
Baby,
We did not win.
If we won, we would not be doing this podcast. It would just be like, "Hey, are you broke?"
No, you would
Cool, 'cause
you would
we are
still be
not.
doing this podcast. We would just have a nicer setup. Let's be real.
Yeah, fair
We'd
enough.
have air conditioning
We'd have
going on.
conditioning.
Be in the same room.
We'd be in the same room. Yo, all right. So what's the other story you got,
one?
babe?
I feel like this has made its round on social media, rightfully so, but it's still fun to mention. So, this article, I just realized, it starts out with a hefty and charismatic walrus named Freya. So there's this this chunky ass walrus named Freya that is making her way around Norway in the heat. And to escape the heat, she's just lounging on people's boats. And in some cases, she's sinking people's boats. So she's just going around wreaking absolute havoc. And apparently they're saying you can't really go in and stop her because she doesn't. It says many people, however, have had the exact opposite reaction to Freya's antics and have flocked to the harbor to see the tusked icon in action. Unfortunately, both forms of attention have been stressful and overwhelming for her. Same. So she just gets stressed out with the crowds when they try to get her off the boats. They say she needs to relax for up to 20 hours. When she's constantly stressed out by people in their presence, it's not good for her. Again, same. I also need 20 hours away from people. So yeah, she's just going around, and I love the tweets. An absolute queen for our times. Fuck shit up, Freya. Oh man, yeah, she's just
Hell
lounging
yeah.
on different boats and
Freya.
sinking them, which is I would love to explain that to the insurance company.
Yeah. Like, what happened? Oh, this thick ass walrus decided to, hop on the boat and just sink my shit. And then does
Someone says
USAA
it's hard
cover
to see
that?
with someone else living out your dream.
Right.
I wish I gotta send you these pictures too. They're pretty good.
Can you, baby? You can share the screen.
Oh man, I know, but
You know what?
no, I can.
Scared to
hold
do
on.
it.
Oh god, it wants me to open
'Cause if I'm a walrus-
preferences and no, we're not.
Oh no! Oh God! Don't
We're
you
not.
hate?
We're not doing that.
Okay, we're not. Just show me later. Listen.
Just Google it.
Look up this thick queen.
Google it.
Yeah. Look up this thick queen and just appreciate her for being the icon that she is. Shout
Freya.
out. What's her name? Freya?
Freya the walrus. Yeah.
Shout
Living
out to
her best
Freya.
life.
Sinking boats with
She's
that
having a hot girl
thick
summer
ass. Right? City girls up. City girls, what's up? City girl Freya singing out here singing boats and shit. I love it. All right. Well, that's the gratitude, I guess. The glad news, the gratitude, but
right now. We'll figure it out.
I don't know. Where
You
can
can
people
find
find
me
you?
at my unique
Where can people find you?
username, Catumano Whitaker, on Instagram. Twitter, I am Catumano W because my name is too long for Twitter. And on
All right.
TikTok.
So there it is. Thank you so much. Yeah, follow her on TikTok. She actually got some. You got some funny TikToks.
I do a
It's
TikTok.
mostly,
I do a
dancing
TikTok
and-
once every. I do like a biannual TikTok. one a quarter.
But you're good at it. You're good at it. Give her some love on TikTok and give her some love on Instagram and Twitter. Yeah, but thanks for. We're gonna get into Mr. Watson's interview. Find out how he got hit by a car. Coming
After
up
the break.
next. Thanks, babe.
Thanks. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, everybody, Stephan Watson is in the building. How you doing, man?
Dude, how's it going? I'm doing all right. All right, I'm doing all right.
This is real cool, man. Are you in your booth right now?
No. So I'm just in like I've got like a little guest room over inside my apartment. It used to be my kids' room, so I set up over in here. But no, my actual booth is in my it's actually right next to my bed.
Yeah.
Big old goddamn wooden, Lego box over inside right next to my bed, and that's where the booth is. So like I can later on I can take pictures of it and all that. So yeah. Yeah.
No, so wait, because I remember you built. So for those who don't know, this young man is an actor, voiceover actor. You see him on screen or off camera, whatever, but he's doing it. I'm like, I got to give credit where credit is due, man. It like you really took off on voice acting, man, and that's really dope to see for you, man. How is that? Walk me through that process. Like, how did it all start? How did we get to where we are now, where you got a booth in the bedroom?
I mean, it's one of those where, like, I mean, growing up, people always said, like, okay, you've got that voice. I mean, especially when, like, you're a 9-year-old black kid over in Southern California, and while every doggone substitute that ever comes in, taking roll, like, here, every kid, here, and then there's me in the back, here, and they go like, "And what?"
At 9.
Yeah. Oh, it was bad. But yeah, like I'd always heard that, never really thought too much about it. And then, it was a mix of things. First, it was one of our friends, Kerry Jackson.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kerry. He really kind of told me, like, cause at one time I was like, hey man, maybe I want to go and get into radio. And he was like, and gave me his perspective on it. And I was like, okay, well, that's something. Yeah. But literally went to a con out over in Texas, went up to go and ask a question, just like hey, this. And voice actors on the stage literally like started screaming like, you need to be doing this. You need to do this, and quite literally like there was a director there of an animated show and he ran off the stage to go and give me his card. And he's like, I'm going to work with you. I want to work with you. So I'm like,
that's amazing. Right place, right time, right voice at the right time. That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, like I knew you could do it. We've had these conversations before. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm just happy that it's taken off for you. So when you are like, what's the work like now? What's your workload like now?
So at the start of COVID, it was going off. It was one of those where I was recording an audiobook. I was recording almost like every 3 weeks a new animated character. I'd be doing promos and training videos, and it was insane. And then life kind of happened. Right now, like for the last year, I've taken a break. I've done a couple of things here and there, but just sort of kind of focused on myself and my situation. And now, quite literally, like 2 weeks ago, I'm starting back up, and going full steam ahead again. So now it's about to pick up. Hopefully.
Well, yeah, I mean, all those Comic-Con trailers just dropped, man. There's a lot of things going on. People need work, so hire my boy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
put him in
seriously.
the MCU, put him in the DC, whatever. Get my man out here got the golden mouth. I don't know if that sounds right, but he got the gold mouth.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. You know me. But I mean, like speaking of the MCU, that's one of those where I mean, I can't. I'm pretty sure, that I sent you, one thing where like I'd actually gotten to audition, for a It was a Marvel game, and I want to tell people that it was a Marvel game.
Yes, I remember.
MCU.
I remember we were talking about this. I mean, I didn't know what I could say. That's why I was like, I'll let him tell it.
Well, and it was one of those where like, the like handful of people that I had kind of mentioned it to. I'm like, hey, this is what it is. We'll kind of see where this goes. And there was an implication that it could go further. And I really tried like, hey, I basically made a beginning actor mistake, which was like, okay, you've got everything that you're doing for your callbacks and whatnot. Then you sign that NDA.
Yeah.
And they're like, don't talk about it. Don't say anything. Don't do nothing. And 90% of the people I told were great. There was one person that immediately just started just blowing it up and all that. I was like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. And, later on I get an email going like, hey, so we need to talk, but it was one of those where like that even like that in itself has still led into other opportunities. Yeah. Like it wasn't just the door is shut forever. It's like okay, well, now you got burned. You know what the stakes are. Right. Here's what you do now,
Yeah, I mean, and now, that was a learning opportunity. I mean, obviously keep your circle small and, move. To quote Lil Wayne, real G's move in silence like lasagna. That is bars. That is, you can learn a lot from Young Weezy. Lil Tunchi has knowledge. Real G's move in silence like lasagna.
Oh, damn.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's. You still talk to that person?
No, go ahead.
All right, never mind. We don't need to get into it. If you lost my man a bag, like that is it's not a good look. But
yeah, we chat maybe about once every month, like two things are like, hey, how's it going? All right, yeah, that's cool. That's about it.
Somebody messes up a Marvel bag for me personally, I'm gonna feel a type of way. But just to anybody listening, move in silence like lasagna. That's all. That's the advice of the day. So you know, what do you think? What are your goals as far as in that arena?
So it's been weird because growing up, never thought about acting at all.
Yeah.
You know, never entered my framework, was just sort of like, okay, you know, it's fine. And within the last 2 years, I've had some highs, I've had some lows, to the point where now I kind of have like almost like a shit or get off the pot type feel to it, where it's I'm either going to have to do something about this and be serious about it, or just hang it up, you know. And like, as it is right now, I've got a full-time job as an assistant manager at a local store. I own a small business, as well as I coach over on the side, and then I act and voice act. And when I went earlier this week, I went to go and talk to the actual store manager, saying like, hey, there's a possibility in a month or two, you might lose me for like a week. I'll be back, but I've got to go, because they know I act, and I've been in commercials and on screen stuff. And they were just like, oh, well, we can't, I don't know if we can do that, you know, and started giving me the whole like, well, you need to set your priorities and And quite literally at that moment, I started realizing, you know what? It's like, this is going to be those kind of times where it's like, the company is always going to want the good workers to stay there and to stay focused, and they'll say stuff like that. But if life is finally taking you in a way, you can't twiddle your thumbs forever. Yeah. That's basically what I've been doing the last year. Is just sort of like, well, you know, I'll just sort of do what kind of comes my way, not really be too serious.
Right.
And yeah, finally just had my wake up moment of like, you know what, forget that. It's time to get serious.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel you. I think we've all been there. And there comes this point where everything is starting to make sense and click, and it's just, you could push against it or you could just roll with it. And I mean, and it sounds like the way the winds are changing for you, and it's just time for you to roll, man. And it always comes when you really have to make that decision. And I'm just proud of you for recognizing that, and and just being honest with yourself, your expectations. I mean, that's awesome. So I mean, like, congrats to you on that. You know, just don't tell anybody about the project. I mean, tell the people.
I ain't telling nobody
don't tell me
about
shit.
Nothing. All right.
I don't want to even know. I want to wake up I want to wake up 6 months from now and I just read about it in a periodical, you know, like pick up a newspaper and I'm like, oh shit, he's in there. Congratulations.
Look, I'll just be straight with you. I'll just be like, hey man, turn on such and such streaming service. All right, cool. Go to like a minute 45. All right, cool. There you go. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. It's already done. And
I'm telling you, you don't even need to text me, man. You don't need I'm not messing up any bag for you, man. You work too damn hard and too damn talented and too damn blessed. So that's awesome. I mean, and like, which do you like the most as far as acting, voice acting, like working in video games or movie, you know what I mean? Like,
dude, voice acting by far, like that. Mm-hmm. And voice acting is where my passion is.
It's sweatpants money. I love it.
Oh my God.
You can just be in sweatpants.
There's nothing better than all of a sudden, like, you know, it's like, okay, well, you know, you got to wake up, you walk over to the booth, you got your laptop set up. Yep. All of a sudden the person, you know, like casting director and the writer, they're there and they're just telling you like, all right, man, here we go. And they got like a big old thing of coffee and just like, all right, go.
Yeah.
You know? And that's what it is. And like that part's cool. And it's a lot more relaxed. It's something I enjoy doing. And there's more avenues that I personally enjoy doing. Like there's audiobooks, which they've got their own difficulty, but you know, they're kind of fun. Trailers and promos. God, I want to do those so much.
Yeah.
You know, I would much rather go and be that voice for, and see, you've got more the you know, that movie phone magic voice.
Well, I'll tell you right now, that comes that voice that when I do it, that comes from smoking Black and Milds in my 20s, man. That I don't recommend it. I can only do it for like 20 seconds because I've had people want me to do it, and that's all them swishers and blacks that I used to smoke.
Dude, hey, 20 seconds sometimes can lead over to a pretty doggone good paycheck. All right, I'll say that much right now.
Fair enough.
You know,
but it is like, sweatpants. My favorite is when you show up and it's like and they want to book you and they like book you at like 11, and I'm like, can we do it at 8 in the morning?
Yup.
Yeah, because you want that gravel in your voice, like you sound like you've just been gargling shrapnel and shit, and like you just go in there like, oh, built Ford tough.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the thing.
Sorry to anybody that wasn't expecting that.
Oh, hell nah. But when you put two people that can do voices over inside a room together, you're gonna get a few things, you know. Ooh. And it's one of those where like the amount of times where you know, I'll be going for something, they'll be like, hey, so you're gonna be, you know, you're this villain. I love playing villains. God, I love playing villains now.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, it's so much fun.
Why is that? Like, just, I mean, take us through like the difference between playing a hero and a villain or whatever.
So with a hero, you know, you're gonna get, especially over in animated stuff, you're gonna get a lot of time where you're recording. Your paycheck's gonna be bigger. It's gonna be the roles that people see, and you know, and that's one of those where when it comes over to voice actors, those ones, I mean, if it's a big budget, honestly, a hero is going to be going over to some A-list actor. The villain can go over to, you know, almost whoever. But it's something where it's, I don't know, it's this kind of like really structured, really formulaic approach where it's like, no, you've got to say this and this and this, and it needs this inflection. But with a villain, the amount of times where, you know, you just, it's like, it's raw. It's just like, I can't believe you told this, you know? And it's just like, hey, that was great. Hey, put this sort of flair onto it. Get this. Or, you know, the amount of times that, you know, you'll be recording and all of a sudden the big scare me. Forget about the script. Scare me. You know, it's like, all right, cool. Here we go. You know, and you've got a little bit of leeway as far as improv. Okay. But it's just the characters themselves, they just are more fun. You know, like a villain is willing to have fun, you know, so you can crack a joke. You can smile. You can sit there and be nice and calm while I'm going to kill you. You know, you can go and have so much fun. Whereas like with a hero, I've got to do this. You know, it's like, it's not as fun.
No, I feel you.
Yeah. So
thank you for explaining that. Like, and so you talked about characters, man. Like, how many characters do you come up with your own, or like, do you have like, oh, let's use this voice for the, you know what I mean? Do you come up with new ones, or do you have like a kind of like a catalog? Like, explain it to me like I'm 5.
Yeah, so it's one of those where, you know, there's some voices that I can do that it's almost like I've always been able to go do them ever since I was like, you know, 5-6 years old, you know. But a lot of it comes from, and you know, and it's just acting stuff. It's you look at the character description, you know, you sit there and go, okay, well, you know, they say this, and then it's got to be part of your own creativity, and that's the thing that a lot of newer actors forget to go and do is they read the character description. If they're good, they'll read it and they stick to it. It's like, well, great, but you didn't give any sort of backstory. Like, why does this character sound the way that you know that you're making them sound? Right. You know, so in the process of, you know, of kind of figuring out how I want the person to sound, I'll sit there and be like, oh, well, you know, why does their voice sound like this? Because they'll be very, very, very broad with most things. You know, they'll say like, oh, well, you know, this is a low vocal tone with a slight accent. What accent? You know, it's like, oh, well, Midwestern. Okay. You know, and now here we go. What kind of Midwestern? Are we talking like Oklahoma? Are we talking Chicago? You know, it's like, where we go? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, it's like, what are we talking about? And there's a lot of times where you have to fill in those blanks. Yeah. And any voice actor that has been around for a while is that you can never just use the first voice that you're coming up with. You got to test it out. You got to, you know, you got to play with it. And one of the things that I love doing, that the local town that I'm in right now hates me for it. It's a small town, but it's one of those where I will test out voices by going over to like, you know, by going over the store, by going over to McDonald's and stuff like that, and I tested it out there. You know, like the store is a little bit harder, but drive-throughs, God, I'm a demon when it comes over, because I'll just start busting out a voice like, okay, what I would like is I'd like a number one, please. Can you hold the ketchup? You know, and you just get people like, excuse me, who, what, you know. And especially, like, okay, for a little bit of backstory, I now live in for anyone that's listening, I live in Delta, Utah, which is a very, very, very small town in Utah.
I drove by. Remember, I was hitting you up when I was driving through. I was like, yo, I'm in your hood. And I looked around. I was like, yo, I got to bounce.
Dude, it's a small spot, you know, but it's one of those where, like, I'm still new enough where not everyone recognizes me. Well, no, I can't say that. Not everyone can recognize my voice.
You. Trust me, they recognize you. They know who you are.
God, trust me. They're like, I'm gonna tell you right now. Even this jacket over here, this little high vis, has a reason why people recognize me. Like, we might get into that.
Okay.
Let's just say, brother was hit by a car in a small white town.
Yeah,
all right, people recognize.
Yeah,
me.
I was just about we could, because you know, we can get into it if you're comfortable sharing. But yeah, man, I remember seeing that post, getting that text, and just those check-ins. Like, what happened?
So, you know, okay, so that one was a. You know, I've been only in this town for about a year, or no, like 2 years now. But anyway, this last December, had an old junked out, you know, Chevy Tahoe that was always giving me problems. And on the way to go and pick up my sons from their moms, went and just was coming back out over here. It's about a 2-hour drive from where she was to where I am, and it's one of those where. Just the car was giving me problems. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever's going on. Finally get it back over to my place, and the sucker is, you know, it's hotter than hell. And I'm like, all right, we got to figure this out. So trying to go and figure it out. Couldn't figure it out that weekend. I finally drop them off. But then as soon as I get back, that car is done. Like, I pulled it into the spot. Transmission literally clocked out and was just like, no, we ain't doing that.
Oh, shit.
So I'm like, all right, I'm out the vehicle, but whatever. You know, my main job is barely even half a mile from where I live, you know, and then when I coach, it's, you know, it's maybe a mile. Okay. So it's not that bad. I can walk. So in the process of, you know, that, I'm sitting there trying to go and fix it. Couldn't fix it one of the days. Got off work, got off the main job, went home for a little bit, was getting ready to go over to my coaching job. So I'm walking over to the coaching job, and it was maybe about 5 o'clock at this time, and 5 o'clock Utah during the winter, it's already pretty dark. Yeah. So, you know, I'm starting to go out. There's like a little overpass that goes by some train tracks. I get all the way down there, look over to my right hand side, see that, you know, it's like, okay, there's that building. Look over in the ground and noticing like, hey man, they actually put some new tar. Okay, cool. I look forward. And about 300 yards is the gymnastics gym. And that's the last thing I remember at that point. Just done, gone. And next thing I know is I'm waking up, and there's people all around me just going like, are you okay? I'm like, I mean, yeah, like I feel all right. But it's like I'm on my back, and I can also see like red and blue. So I'm like, I've been here for a while.
Yeah.
What's going on? And I remember one of the guys that lives out over here, Dan, pretty cool guy. He was like, hey man, I'm just letting you know, you got hit by a car.
What a good friend.
You know, I'm like,
hey man, like, hey dog, bruh, you got hit by a car. Just wanted to let you know. Came by the house, tried to drop off some shit, but you got hit by the car, so I'll just come by later. You good?
I'm not going to lie. Recount, like, they've told me the story, you know, from their perspective and whatnot. Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, brother got hit by a car, you know, and it's one of those where, like, I'm sitting there, like, I'm laying on the ground. I'm like, okay, well, I know I shouldn't move, but nothing hurt at that time. So, you know, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm all right. Is anything hurt? My pride. Yeah. Like, I don't know what to tell y'all. Right. It's like, oh, your shoe's like 100 yards that way. Great. Can you go get it and put it back on my foot?
What kind of shoe was it?
Like, so it was like it was an old hiking boot, man. Yeah. So,
okay.
Like, it even had that little, snow, like, the little snowboarding boot kind of like ratchet click thing and all to it. They busted as hell. I still have them. I use them every morning.
You still use the same boot?
Yeah.
I mean,
okay, look, all right.
Me personally, I never buy that brand again.
I'll put it this way. I spent $120 over on that boot, and the only thing that's busted is the little like mechanism that has to like
all right,
snap
up. It's covered under warranty. Take it to REI and get it replaced.
Yeah, fuck that, dude. I got a dog. All right, so that's my boot when I gotta like. All right, gotta take the dog out and put my shoes inside there.
Let me put on my hit by a car boots. These are my collision shoes.
Dude, oh god. But like straight up, it's one of those where like that night it was like they took me over to the hospital. You know, sitting there, I had to go and do was it an MRI, a CT scan, 2 different X-rays. Like, they wanted to make sure that I was all right. And the entire time, I'm like, all right, cool, you know. And
I was about to say, like, you're just fine? Like, nothing happened?
Yeah, it's like no broken bones. I did have a pretty mild concussion and some hematoma that went on. Uh-huh. But, like, other than that, like, it was all just scars and what. So, like, this scar right here, this one up over here, you know, over on, like, my right-hand side, that's where almost like all the road rash was. So like I've got some pretty jacked up scars now, and you know, and that kind of stuff. But like it's all on my legs and stuff. So you know, they're sitting there doing the oh my god, you're blessed by God, and you're so strong, and I'm just sitting there like I don't care.
Yeah, you just
know,
want to go
like,
home.
It is what it is, and like my buddy, one of my buddies that I grew up with from California lives out over here. And he's like, hey, man, I'm going to call your parents. I'm like, all right, but you know how they are. So straight up, like, I remember him being inside the hospital room. No. I'm sitting there, like, laying down on the bed. And he's like, so, Mr. Watson, I don't want to alarm you, but Steph got hit by a car. And all I can hear out of my father is he alive? Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like straight up. That's how my family knows. Like, he'll be all right. Yeah. He'll make it. You know. So
walk that shit off.
You know, yeah.
That's how dads do. That's how. That's how I. What kind of car was it?
It was a white Volkswagen Passat.
Oh yeah. You walking that shit off. You walking a Passat off.
And that's the thing. Like,
a Passat.
Like,
if that was a Tiguan.
I got hit up and over. No, I would have been splattered. I would have been gone.
Yeah, you walking that shit up.
Well, and like, trust me, like, don't get me wrong.
I'm glad you're here.
I live in a
joking
rural
around.
farming town. No, hell no, we joking. All right, it's one of those. I live in a town of trucks. All right, if it would have been anybody else,
it was the one person on the way to their bunco night or whatever. Yeah. You got the Passat.
Oh, well, let's put it this way. The person that hit me, like, I won't say names or anything like that, but I knew her and I coached her daughter. So it was one of those where she was on her way to go and pick up her daughter and hit me. And it's like, ooh, I hit your coach with the car. Yeah. You know, so like it was the whole thing. But honestly, like, it is what it is. You know, it's one of those where I was able to go and get everything handled. And even when people go like, oh, you know, it's like, are you going to go and sue the person? Nah, didn't have to go and sue the person. I did get an attorney. And I will say this, if you get hit by a car, go get an attorney.
Okay.
But I just explained it to my attorney. It's like, I don't want to go after her. I don't want to, I don't want anything going on to go mess up this family. Okay. I know him. I like him. But the other part of that is I am a short black guy over in a small conservative town that is not from here. The last thing I need to do is piss off a local. So please don't do this, you know? So, and like I said, they were real cool with it. Got me, you know, got all my medical stuff done with, had a small settlement, was able to go and get a new car. Like,
okay. Yeah, that's all. Hey, all right.
That part was good.
Okay. Yeah, because that's why I was like, that's why I went, because I was like, you should probably be like compensated for your car, you know, just like, that's good. Yeah, okay. So I'm glad you safe, you know, but how did, I guess, being hit by a car, you know, that's gotta help you put stuff in perspective in a way. I mean, I can't, like, I've never had like a true near death experience. I've had some close calls, but like, I don't know. Well,
it did, but probably not in the way that some people might think.
Okay, so you're not about to start
like,
a mega church or anything, or
hell no. For me, basically it basically showed that anyone could get taken out at any time, you know, and never see it coming. The other thing that it really helped for me is like, especially during that time, I was hitting some real low points, going through a couple of existential crisis and stuff like that, and getting knocked out to the point of like, you just nothing. Your brain is doing absolutely nothing, and then waking up. For me, it was kind of like, oh, so for a little bit, it was basically like I was dead. Like, I wasn't conscious of anything. It's not like I was dreaming or, you know, nothing. It was just gone. It was nothing. And for me, that put me at a weird sense of peace of just going like, okay, I can literally be on this planet doing everything that I'm doing, or I can be on this planet moping around and, you know, and hating life and everything like that. Either way, at some point, I'm gonna get taken out, and there's nothing that I can do about it. But at the same time, there's no reason I have to be afraid of it either. Okay. You know, and that's the thing where it's just like,
I love that.
Yeah, you know, it's like, don't get me wrong, I still have that like motivation of like, no, I want to get a bunch of stuff done now. Like, I've got my goals. I've got things I want to do. But at the same time, it's not the panicked like, I need to do all this before I'm gone, because I never know. Like, you don't know when you're gonna go. You know, you could be conscious of it, or it could just happen literally while walking to work and just boom, gone. So for me now, it's just like, okay, well, I'm going to go and get everything I want done, but I'm going to do it on my own timetable, and I'm not going to panic about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
I get you.
Just keep on trying, you know? So that's what I mean. Like, for some people, they get that, you know, that like, oh no, like life is finite. I got to get this done now, you know, because I could be taken out. For me, it was a lot more calming. Just honestly, it's a lot more of that Huntington Beach vibe. Yeah. Just like, all right, I'll get it done, but I'm going to relax and have fun while I'm doing it. I mean, that's,
well, we both grew up in Southern California, so things are a little bit chill, you know. It's 50 Cent made an album called Get Rich or Die Trying. Southside Jamaica, Queens, like, shit was different. So yeah, I mean,
is it bad that all of you started busting that out, and all of a sudden all I could think of was like, oh god, like Real Big Fish and stuff like that. Like, that shows you the difference of where we grew up in Southern California.
We as two brothers that grew up in Orange County, California, as well as Utah. Like, it's a different vibe, and here's the thing. It's not your fault. I tell people, because I meet people from, you know, I'm on the East Coast now. I meet people and they're like, Utah, bruh. Why? I'm like, hey, we can't all be in Brooklyn, dog. Like, we just can't.
Dude.
You know, it's not our fault. We go where we go.
So I just got back a couple of weeks ago from going out over to a con out over in DC called Blurred Con.
Yeah, I heard about this. I want to go. Put me on game.
Dude, okay. You first of all, I'll just put it this way. You have to go. You have to go. Okay, because first of all, like, you go out over there, and I'd never been out to a con that had that many black people. Like, straight up. It was like, it felt weird, because it's like, I'm used to being, no matter what con I've ever gone to, one of the few. And not even just like one of the few, as in
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh,
no, I
there's
know what
like
you mean.
50.
I've been
like,
to San
no,
Diego,
I mean like
yeah.
one of the 3
Yeah.
or 4. Yeah. So for me, it was one of those where I literally remember that first day that I actually went over to the con having a little bit of a shock and just going like, oh my God. Like I really never felt like this much as just like, okay, I'm black, but I'm a nerd. And it's always been that thing that I've always had to like, when I was younger, I had to hide it.
I know.
And then now it's one of those where now I can be out and about with it, but it's not like, it's not like I've got a bunch of other people that I can sit there and talk about how like Piccolo is a brother, but like,
thank you.
They actually understand.
It was a
that
brother.
Piccolo
Like, no,
is a
this was said in the
brother,
first episode of this podcast. There's a book about it. We all need to read it. Piccolo was black. Thank you.
Yeah. And just straight up is, it's just one of those where like, okay, there's that. But, I went out over there because it's been on my radar for a while. And I had sent him an email just going like, hey, I'm a young voice actor. I'd love to be able to come out to your con and just do a panel. And it took a while for them to get back. And they're like, yeah, sure, let's do it and all that kind of stuff. But like, it's a super small con. But I mean, it's one of those where when you really think of when people start throwing around like black excellence, it gets lost in a lot of different interpretations and things, and things like that. I will say it's the first time that I'd gone to an area and felt black excellence, but not in any one way, in like a multitude of different ways, of just, you had cosplayers that like one cosplayer, I'm forgetting her name, but she's got Nigerian roots, and she was doing a cosplay, and I'm sitting there looking at it going like, man, something about this feels familiar. It feels familiar, and she's sitting there kind of talking about her as a cosplayer during one of the panels, and how her cosplay name is actually it's half her American name and half her Nigerian name. I'm like, oh my God, that's cool. And then all of a sudden she started going like, okay, and for some of you that are looking at me, there's a reason why this cosplay looks familiar. And I'm just sitting there like, tell me. And she's like, culturally, it's something where it might be slightly genetic or whatnot, but it's an imprint. All of this looks familiar. Like her entire thing did. And I'm just sitting there like, oh my God. And she's just going like, every single thing that I'm wearing over on here is about this Nigerian goddess. And those of you that might have Nigerian roots that never knew about it, this is going to feel like home. And she's like, there are actual scientific studies and anthropological studies that show that some of these things that go on for different cultures that were taken from their homeland and then raised up in another one, that there's still there's still things that feel familiar to you, just, almost like on instinct. And she was basically going like, I wear this particular cosplay so that those of you that might not know your roots, because like she knew hers, and because some of her family was straight up like Nigerian, came from Nigeria, but she's like, there's a lot of you guys out over here that are in this crowd right now that have no idea your roots, because literally there are no records. You cannot find them. There is no family tree for you to be able to go back to. All right, you got off a boat and you're done. But there are some things that are going to feel familiar to you. And straight up, she started speaking Nigerian. And I kid you not, there was about 4 or 5 of us that sat there going like, why does this feel right? This feels, this feels good. And it like, I can't tell you how much it blew me away. Like it really did, but then to go from that, and then you've got your other panels, but it's weird how you get so used to hearing conversations about nerdy topics from a particular vantage point, and then all of a sudden you hear it from a vantage point that I feel like I should understand, but I don't. It's like, oh well, this is how it should feel for the culture. And I'm like, I've never really felt like I've been part of the culture, so it's been weird for me. But hearing that perspective, honestly, it was it was scary yet still
And you felt
intriguing,
welcome. It sounded like you felt
and
welcome.
It did, like I felt welcome. I felt welcome because others understood that I felt awkward in the situation. Like they could tell even during my panel. I'm sorry, after my panel, did it. Everyone was great. Had a bunch of questions, and it was one of those where a lot of people came up to me afterwards and like, "Hey, man, you seem like you were semi uncomfortable during that. Is it just giving a panel?" I'm like, "No, I've given panels before. I've given tons of them, but I've never given panels to like an all black crowd." That's what felt weird.
You and I are used to being, the one diversity hire for the panel, or we're used to being on the same panel for diversity. You know what I mean? And so, and we're having to play almost educator to certain audiences. And whereas now you don't have to put anybody up on game or nothing. You don't have to tell people this is why this character is important because they already know. Yeah.
Exactly. And that was the thing about it is just like, okay, I was taken out of my natural element, and it was really refreshing. And even during that panel, like I've now done this particular voice acting panel, which it's all about, like, I call it voice acting year one. It's all about getting someone from just saying like, oh, I want to voice act to literally their first audition, so it's not about just the roles that I've done. It's like, no, this is what I've done. It might not necessarily work for you, but these are the places you can go for auditions. This is what you might want to look out for. This is what you want to go and look for if you're seeking representation. This is the kind of equipment. Like, I try to break it down as much as possible. And even when it gets over into the financials, I give straight up, like, honest to God experiences where it's like, hey man, I did this. It's like, I did this particular commercial, netted me $700. I did this other commercial, netted me $7,000. All right. So you got to look at, what you're dealing with and things like that.
There's money to be made for anybody listening. There's money to be made in the voiceover game. Do not, bro.
Oh,
I mean, before you was doing it, I was doing it, and I was doing, like, I'm telling you, that money will hold you down, especially because I was doing stand up in Salt Lake City, where there's not enough. It's a great place to develop as a comic, but there's not enough opportunity. So you got to get that extra. You got to get that extra bread somewhere. Mm-hmm. And so I was, I would go do those, get that sweatpants money. Did it for doTERRA, a massage school, Verizon, bro. I'm telling you. And once you get those checks, you're like, oh, this is all I got to do.
Yep. Like, straight up, it's one of those where I've got a friend that, she had, said like, oh, okay, well, I kind of want to go and do acting and whatnot. And it was right around the time that the Olympics were getting ready to go on. And she's a speed skater, like already a speed skater. So, I went and hooked her up with my agency. And right then and there was a Visa commercial going on. And she got in there like just at the right time when they needed it. And all of a sudden she looked over at me. It's like, all I had to do was like skate around the rink and then like go off it, like 2 or 3 times. It was an hour's worth of work, and I got paid this. And then there were these residuals. And I'm like, yeah.
It's stupid. You just gotta be willing and patient to do the work. So, I mean, like you mentioned, voiceover 101. I mean, just to anybody that's listening right now to say, hey, how do I get this voiceover bread, but now also not interfere with with our bread? Because I still want that bread. Yeah,
here's a weird thing. Okay, so even the way you just said that, like when it comes over to on-screen stuff, it's definitely like a, hey, don't step on my toes. Like, I'm going for this role. I don't really care. Like, or not, like, I don't really care about making friends right now. All right. It's like, I want my role. I want this voice acting community, like the actual real voice acting community.
That's what's up.
Not like that at all. Straight up. It is more inviting. You will find voice actors. There's some, like one that I can think of that does great help.
Okay.
Melissa Medina.
Like a YouTube channel?
like Melissa and I, we talk all the time. No, she doesn't. But I mean, it's one of those where you play video games and she's in the video game. You watch anime, she's in the anime. Like that's the other thing. Like with voice actors, you hear a ton of their stuff, but half the time you never see their face. So it's like you don't really think about it. But like she's one of those where, you know, when I started out, I was kind of like, oh, okay. I kind of kept on seeing her name pop up. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then I took a chance. I went and tried talking to her through her DMs over on Twitter, just like, hey, you know, I'm trying to go and start out. And then she literally was just like, yeah, cool. Let's go and try to go and help you out. And would send auditions and things like that. And she helped instill in me a mindset that now I do for a lot of others, especially over on Twitter and, you know, some of these other platforms, which is if I'm going for a role, like, yes, I'm going to do my due diligence. I'm going to try my best for it. However, if I can help find the absolute right person for the role and just blast it out and hope that they get it, that studio, if they make this, like they make whatever this production is and it goes great and makes a ton of money, that means that they'll have more money to get other stuff done. So even if I don't get it, just by like, if someone else can go and get it, they can make it the best it possibly can be. All right. It's the right voice for the right role. They get the money. The studio's great. They can keep on making other stuff. Whereas just like, think of how many things that, you know, when we think about different movies, it's like, oh, well, you know, that person just like they sucked at that role. All right. They're fucking terrible, you know, and then they trash an entire movie for like one or two people. There could have been some great people in some of those roles, and they'll still just be like, nah, movie was trash. Never going to do it again. Now, all of a sudden, like that's a studio that probably can still make maybe one or two other films at the millions of dollars it takes. But when you're thinking about these smaller animation studios, that it's like, no, you trash their one studio, one bad thing could break them and they're done, you know? So it's just like, a lot of the voiceover community is really supportive and is really just like, hey man, I will try to go and help get you in the door, because if you're good, then you can help get more, like you can get more things made. All right. Again, like people like Nolan North, Tara Strong, they're not hurting the game at all. It's like the more that he's over inside a game, that means that studio makes a ton of money. So they're going to make their A-list games, but then they're also going to make a bunch of B-list and C-list games. I can try to get my foot in some of those C-list games and work my way up, you know? So that's why it's like, again, way more inviting. But as far as for other people, the best thing that I could go and tell you is like, if you're really passionate about it, realize a couple of things. You may go through, like hundreds of auditions, and you'll be excited about them. You'll be happy. You'll do your practice. You'll be trying as much as you can. And with acting, there's a lot of times that there is no response. If you do not get the role, it's not like you get an email like, oh, I'm sorry, we didn't hire you. You know, it's nothing. You will hear nothing.
Not wrong.
You have to get used to that. You have to be strong enough to be able to go and have rejection in the form of silence.
You will be ghosted.
All right.
Yeah. Casting director.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah,
you know,
not
and you'll
your
be
toxic
excited.
ex did not invent ghosting. Casting directors did. Okay, that's facts.
Yeah. So it's like, you gotta be ready for that. If you're strong enough to be able to handle that, then I'll tell you, okay, from there, don't go and buy a shit ton of equipment, because when you're starting out, you have no idea what you need. Like this microphone that I'm using right now, like I can use this for maybe one or two small kind of products, you know, or small productions. I've got a $500 microphone and an $800 microphone over inside the booth. And it's one of those where it's like, no, if I'm serious, I use those. But if you don't know how to use them,
EQs and
you now have an $800 brick.
No, that's
you know.
So how do you take care of your voice?
So
are you a tea and honey kind of dude?
So for the most part, I do a lot of practice. So I do tea and honey.
You say them dumbass sentences like
green apples and things like
New York that, and shit like that.
Oh, I am horrible at that. No, hell no. But what I do is so it's like your vocal cords, those are literal muscles. So the more you work them out, the stronger they'll be and the more they'll be able to take. So especially when people are like, half the anime fans, it's like, oh, okay, well, you want to go and start doing those Dragon Ball Z screams. Well, if you haven't built yourself to be able to handle that, you're going to blow out your voice the first time, and even like I've literally done screams and efforts in front of Chris Sabat, which is the voice for Vegeta and Piccolo, as well as All Might, and a host of other voices that he does. I've done it in front of him, and he was like, "That's great. You have a fantastic amount of range, and and your voice is very dynamic. You're gonna blow out your voice if you do not actually practice." So like, I will literally on Saturdays and Sundays for like 5-minute stretches, just going like, and try to sustain it, but I won't peak it, and then just, I'll go a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, so that's something where now I've now kind of built it up where, I can do these screams. I can do a little, work these kind of muscles out in a way that now when I get in front of a studio and they go, okay, great, we need a creature sound, but we need it dying. I can try my best at that, and it sounds real rather than someone that's just I kind of think I know what this sounds like, and then just do it on the fly. It's a lot of practice.
Are your neighbors okay with the screams?
No. Hell no. So, let's see. The last one that I did was earlier this week, where it was just another audition.
Did you at least explain to your neighbors like, yo? Okay, all right, yeah.
Oh yeah. They okay, good. They know what I do, and I also tell them, hey, if I'm about to do something, I'll go and I'll knock on your door beforehand, just to let you know, like when you hear something, it's me. So like I went, knocked on their door, they didn't come to the door, and I'm like, okay, well maybe they're just not there. And I live in like a small like little apartment complex thing, so I tell the people around me like, hey man, you're gonna hear screaming, you're gonna hear this. Like for this particular one, I'm like, I'm going to be screaming like I'm dying, and I'm going to be asking for help. That's just me. Don't do anything.
This
and like,
is not safe.
I've even gone as far as like telling the sheriffs that are local.
I don't like that. I respect the craft, but I'm scared for your safety.
You have to do this because it's like the last thing you want to be doing is like, don't kill me, like I'm trying to keep it real low. It's like, but don't kill me, oh my god, and doing this, and all of a sudden you get just a
yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah,
it's like,
that was a good take. Now I got to do it again because you knocked.
But yeah, and literally like that's half the thing right there. It's like when I do this, don't knock on my door. Like my booth is not soundproof. It is sound insulated. So outside sounds can still bleed through. All right. But inside sounds are trapped. So it's, it's like, I work these kind of arrangements with people just so that way they know, like, don't mess with me. Cause if you mess with me and all of a sudden after a while, like if I've been doing this for an hour and now I'm tired, but I've got 2 or 3 more things to go and do, and you fuck it up, I'm gonna be pissed. All right. Cause I don't have a lot of time, man. So,
well, damn.
Yeah, it's an experience, man.
I feel like, oh man, I would love to see like a camera of your neighbors reacting. Just like there needs to be that shot of just, that.
I would love that.
Okay.
From one of my neighbors, because they're really chill, but at the same time, like, they're that awkward kind of human that is just like, that will sit there just like,
yeah,
for anything. And I've explained it to them millions of times. Just like, what does it sound like when I'm over there? It's like, I never know what's going on,
right?
And if I should call the cops. Like, even when you tell me that you're doing this, right, I don't know what's good. Real.
You're skilled at your craft, brother. So I mean, I tip my hat, and keep doing what you're doing. Damn. where can people find you? How can plug your podcast, plug everything you got, man?
Yeah, so you can find me over on most social media platforms at that backflip guy. Sometimes there's spaces, sometimes they're not. But yeah, like I'll say this: if you like, Twitter is the one that I use. I barely use my
I haven't
Instagram
seen you
anymore.
much on
Don't worry
IG
about
as
that
much.
one. And I've got no pictures, dude. As soon as some other stuff went on with my life, I stopped taking pictures. So, it's one of those where it's like, I'd say Twitter is your best shot. And as far as my podcast, right now I'm only doing one, and that is the Crack Brain Podcast. Me and a bunch of my dickhead friends, and we've got no topics. Yeah, it's like we've got no topics. We just talk about whatever shows up into our brains. All right. So, I will say listen at your own discretion.
Listen at your own discretion. Well, dog, I'm glad you're okay. Honestly, it's been a minute since I've seen you. I haven't seen you in 2.5 years, 3 years, and so, I'm glad you made it. Glad you're okay, and dude, just congratulations on all the success, man. I see nothing but like just blue skies and a lot. Get that sweatpants money, damn it.
Yeah, heck yeah. Trust me, I'm going. But yeah, man, thank you. Like I said, this has been fun.
We're gonna have to have you back on, and especially when you book those big projects, plural, because I know they coming. When you book them, you got to come on and tell us all about it.
They're coming.
I have to invite you back, man. But thank you so much for
I will. Trust me.
Stopping through.